There. Apologies for that. Okay, good evening everybody, and the weather's certainly back with a gunk, especially for me. I'm just back from a week in Tenerife where the temperatures were 25 degrees C, and I did an awful lot of solar observing, but not through a telescope, I can assure you. But the sun is still very much to the fore. Today the sun is blank once again, and this is the way it looked a couple of days ago, and we had great hopes that the sunspot, the AR 1029, was going to be back again and put on a good show for us. This was a photograph about a month ago of AR 1029 taken by Dave Gradwell and Bird. Fabulous image, look at the detail, and Dave has included this little picture of the Earth just to give it some sort of scale. It was coming back round again. As you know, it takes about a month for the sunspot to come back round again. Depends where it is, of course. Some different parts of the sun rotate at different speeds. But round about the middle, it takes about 25 days for the sunspot to come round. So we could just see round the corner, and it looked like it was putting on a bit of a show. But whenever it came round, I'm afraid it turned out to be a bit of a damn squib. And this is it. This is the fella here. And those photographs by Peter, I think we were anticipating a better show than what we actually got. But in the meantime, we got a couple of new ones. We got this wee tiny fella up here, AR 1031, and Peter also managed to capture a fairly small one, AR 1030. So there's a couple of spots in the sun, although as I say, today it's pretty clear. But of course the big news is the Leonids, and you may have heard Professor Bailey from Armagh on the radio yesterday, and we were getting everybody worked up about this, and from Bangor certainly it was an almost total washout. It wasn't a washout everywhere, however, even though the predictions were for a very excellent display, and in fact an outburst. Now there was an outburst in our house, but I'm afraid it was about the weather, it wasn't meteors. But you can see in America, I think this photograph was taken in California, they did indeed get a beautiful display of the Leonids. Fantastic. Not only in America, but also Martin McCrea managed to catch this boyo. He had 86 meteors, I think, recorded in his, not last night, the night before, Tuesday night session, and one of them left this magnificent train, and you can see actually it's got like a comet's tail, and Martin had these photographs on Space Weather, and they're very, very dramatic indeed. But to see, I think he said 89 meteors is pretty good going. Now, unfortunately, as I say, the weather wasn't quite so good in Bangor. It didn't clear up until about 5:10. I got up several times to have a look, and it was crowded. But Martin in County Antrim there got a most magnificent view, I have to say. Anyway, what's happening in the sky? And at the moment, the sky is fantastic, if it wasn't for the clouds, of course. And usually I tell you to look out for the astronomer's favourite. The Plough lies between two bright stars, which you can just about see one off Arcturus at the moment, so almost about to dip down below the western horizon. But at the moment, Capella's rising steadily. The Plough, of course, will allow you to find Polaris. I dread using this one because I usually switch the projector off. There it is. Thanks. Okay, so for beginners, the first thing we find is the Plough. We use these two stars as pointers, and that takes us to Polaris. And the old adage, if the Plough's low down, and at the moment it's really low down on the horizon, overhead is the constellation of Cassiopeia. And if the Plough's low down, Cassiopeia's up high, Cassiopeia's low down, the Plough's up high. So you can generally find Polaris somewhere in between. You can still see the stars of summer. One of the summer triangle stars, Vega, is still well up in the sky at about 9 or 10 o'clock. But the stars of winter are well into the eastern part of the sky. Looking south, the sky is still dominated in the early evening by the Great Square of Pegasus. And also missing from this diagram, the brightest object in this part of the sky is the planet Jupiter. Lots of people have said to me, what is that very, very bright star low down in the southwestern part of the sky? It is, of course, Jupiter, the planet. And from Tenerife, I had a beautiful view of Jupiter, not just above the horizon, but way up in the sky. But unfortunately, I didn't have my telescope with me. Also at the moment, if you're very lucky, you might be able to pick out this star here, Fomalhaut. It's from the southern fishes. It's the brightest of the southern stars that we can see. Again, you might just about be able to see it hugging the horizon. Okay, tonight's lecture is about smoking stars, but it's very, very timely because we have one of the most famous stars in the sky, the star Mara. Mara can actually be quite difficult to find, and if I can just do a stupid thing here and try and go backwards, I meant to show you this, it's not going to work. I'm meant to show you the constellation here of Cetus, the whale or sea monster. And it lies, if you follow these two stars of Pegasus down, you come down to Cetus. If you follow these two down, you come down to Fomalhaut. So if you follow this line down here, you'll come to Cetus. Cetus, at the moment, has got Mara at its maximum. Now, Mara is a very unpredictable star. It takes about 11 months to go from a magnitude that you can't see up to a fairly bright star at the moment. And again, from Tenerife, we were able to pick out Mara quite well. And it's easily found. If you can find these very faint stars in Pisces that point straight to it. But if you use the line of the Great Square, it's easy to see it. And I have an excellent photograph taken by John McCall here at the front, and you can see he's drawn these lines in. They don't actually exist in the sky, just in case you are a beginner, and you have to find those yourself. And here you can see Mara shining beautifully. I'm not sure what magnitude it is, but just below 2, isn't it, at the moment, John?
3.4.
3.4.
No,
3.4?
3.4.
Yeah. So it's still, fairly bright. Can't get as bright as 2. In fact, I think this time last year it was roughly about 2. The other objects of interest, of course, there's a couple of other planets around. One of them was mentioned earlier, but if you can find the Great Square again, and you can pick out the circlet, I have to say it's much easier to find these constellations whenever you're in Tenerife than it is whenever you're in Bangor. This part of the sky is completely swamped, usually with mist for me. But anyway, I was able to pick out the circlet, and I reckon I could see Uranus with the naked eye. The other planet that we can see at the moment is the planet Neptune. Neptune is signposted by Jupiter at the moment. Everybody knows where Jupiter is, very, very bright. And if you can find the stars Iota, Gamma, and Delta Capricornus, they lead you to a line of 3 little stars here, and you can pick out Neptune in your binoculars quite easily. Now, I tried this with my wife's camera from the beach in Tenerife. Now, the skies at sea level in Tenerife, unfortunately, are rubbish. But once you get up high, they're fantastic. They're absolutely amazing. But this was a photograph taken with a fairly standard digital camera, which has a 30-second exposure on it. And you can see here's Iota, this fella here, I think, and here's the other 2. Here's the 3 little stars. And then after I'm guessing, I'm not sure which one is Neptune. I think it might be one of those ones there. But if I had binoculars, I could have picked it out okay. And you can see we even had a bit of cloud in Tenerife, so can't escape it. Just to wind up, a couple of months ago, on the 6th of October, the probe called L-Cross. This was the one that smashed the Centaur rocket stage into the moon, the south pole of the moon, to try and detect water. And of course, as I said at the last meeting, they have actually managed to detect water. And water has shown up in these 2 water bands in the spectrum. And there's all this other stuff that they've found as well. So the mission was a success to some degree. I don't think they saw a massive plume, but they certainly did see water. So the moon, it turns out, has quite a lot of water on it after all. Just to finish up, we've seen some magnificent photographs recently by Martin Campbell. Martin's got a new setup, and this is a massive object in the sky, but it's very, very hard to see. Some people claim to see this galaxy with their naked eye. He's not here tonight. But it is actually very hard to see with the naked eye. You can pick it out with binoculars, usually it's hard to see even with binoculars. But a photograph like this is fantastic, and Martin operates out of Dungannon, and I'm sure you'll agree, fantastic indeed. It looks like something the Hubble Space Telescope took. Okay, Phil, thanks very much.
Thanks very much, Alan.